Hi, welcome to episode 11 of the Owl About Yarn podcast. I'm Jenny and you can find me on Ravelry as Jenster79 and everywhere else including Instagram, Twitter, WordPress and Etsy as Owl About Yarn. We've also got a group for the podcast and for information about my products in my shop on Ravelry, which is called Owl About Yarn. I sell yarn and fibre and stitch markers on Etsy, and that is not really a surprise, owlaboutyarn.etsy.com. So today is the 8th of September. How are all you lovely people? Thank you ever so much for taking the time to come and spend probably about an hour with me again today. I really appreciate you giving up your time or letting me share your knitting time or housekeeping. What is it that you do while you watch the podcast? Let me know in the Ravelry group or reply in the comments. I've got a big watch list now of podcasts on YouTube. I don't have iTunes, so I just watch on YouTube, and I tend to watch podcasts while I'm spinning, or sometimes I'll prop it up in the kitchen while I'm doing work. The longer podcasts I like to do that, like Knitworthy podcast or the Bakery Bears. They tend to come and do jobs with me, keep me occupied when I've got things to do that I don't really want to do. My throat feels a bit scratchy today, so I've got my nice cup of tea on the go. And I have got a fair amount to talk about, so hopefully my throat will last out and I'll be able to get through everything I want to talk about. So today I want to talk about my works in progress, my finished objects, my acquisition, because I've got one little stash acquisition, my plans, and then I've got a whole bunch of loose ends at the end that don't really fit into anything but I wanted to talk about anyway. So where do we begin? Well, according to my little list I've got stuck to the thing down there, it's works in progress. And I've got 2 to tell you about. No, 3, I can't even count. 2 finished objects, 3 works in progress. The first one that I want to show you is in my Paddington bag from the Bakery Bears cottage. And it's my key shawlette poppers. It's my key shawlette which I'm knitting as part of the key shawl knit along, which is going at the moment in my Ravelry group, and I'll tell you more about that in loose ends. I'm so close to the end. Look, I'm decreasing. So where am I looking? Sorry. I'm decreasing, and you decrease 1 stitch every 2 rows. And so I reckon I could finish this today. But here it is. Let me get it so I can show you. Oh, do you know, I'll get used to this sooner or later, and I still haven't got used to the camera being that side instead of that side. I'm so sorry. Oh, and another apology I wanted to make is that it's a really grey and dismal day, and I haven't got a good light bulb. I think it's, I can even look at it. Yeah, it's a 60 watt bulb, which really isn't good enough for this room. I think I'm going to have to upgrade to 100 watt. So it's a little bit dark today, and I'm really sorry about that. But I will try and deal with that soon and have better lighting for you in the future. So this is the yarn I'm using. It's my own yarn, Owl About Yarn, Sparkle Owl. It is the Sparkle Owl, yes. I should know this. I've been knitting with it for better part, well, more than a week. Come on, Jen, get your act together. Right, this is Owl About Yarn Sparkle Owl, which is a blend of merino, nylon and silver stellina. It's on, the colourway is called Key Parade, which was inspired by the Quayside at Abereiron, which is a small town in Mid Wales where I grew up. I'll put a little picture so that you can see. Oh, and it's on the floor. I'm glad I hoovered. And I am nearly done. So look, here it is. That's where I started, up here. There's the end, you see. And then it's all the way across here now, and I'm so close. oh yeah, so that bit of thread hanging out and the hair clip, that's where I started yesterday. For somebody who makes stitch markers and progress keepers, I'm really not very good at keeping them in my notions pouch or next to where I sit downstairs. So yeah, I apologise about that. Yeah, I'm really enjoying this. It's properly, I've heard a few of you in America calling it potato chip knitting, where you do a bit and you think, oh, I'll just do one more row, oh, I'll just do a little bit more, oh, I just want to see how this bit comes out. So all of these sections at the beginning where you're increasing, you've got like a stocking stitch and then the lace and another stocking stitch, you think, oh, I'll just do that next section so I can see how that's going to come out. And oh yeah, oh yeah, and now I'm on the decreases, I'm thinking, oh, well, surely it's not going to be very much longer, I'll just keep going. And so I think I will finish that today. So next week, hopefully, I'll be able to show you that blocked. Let me just get the wool so I can put it away. The pattern is by Sarah Millis from sarahstexturecrafts.com. If you go in my Ravelry group, if you haven't already, there's a discount on the pattern while the knit along runs, but I will tell you more about that, as I said, later in the podcast. Now, my second work in progress is a school cardigan for my little girl. I think I told you about this, didn't I? Did I show you? Yes, because the time before last I said I was going to cast it on and I showed you needles, and then the last time I was a bit of the way through. Oh, my memory, I really do have a memory of a fruit fly. It's this is where some very clever person is going to come along and say, actually, fruit flies have a really good memory because of this, that and the other. Well, pick a thing that has a really bad memory, and that's me. For things like this, I can remember useless things, like I could tell you what my phone number was when I was 7. Anyway, long story short, I wanted to make her 2 cardigans because I'm not very happy with the quality of the school cardigans that you buy in the supermarkets. They seem very thin and insubstantial, and I thought she's just not going to be warm enough in those. So I finished one, which I'll tell you about afterwards, and I'm on the second one, but I got sidetracked by the key shawlette. So the plan is, if I finish the key shawlette today, apart from the fact that I want to start another one, I shouldn't be sidetracked. Oh, I shouldn't be sidetracked by anything else really, and I should get this done because she's already wearing the other one. So it's going to need washing soon, and I'm going to have this done. I do have another school cardigan for her. I have the official school cardigan with the badge on and everything, so she has got other clothes to wear it. It won't be a case of she gets in from school and I have to wash it there and then to make sure that it's dry for the next day. But it's you know, it's getting a bit risky now. I should have cracked on with this sooner. So it's knit from the top down. It's a pattern by Sarah Ronchetti, and you can buy it on Ravelry. It uses DK weight yarn, and I'm using just a basic red acrylic that I got in a local shop called Shaw's. I am using 3.5mm Carbons needles. I love my Carbons. I have the limited edition box of Joy that they did a couple of years ago with all of the needles in, and then it's got a lovely cut out detail box. Beautiful. I love knitting with my Carbons. And yeah, so it's knit from the top down, so I've nearly got the sleeve shaping done, and then I've got to knit, I don't know, I can't remember, about 10 rows or something before I just cast off and start, well, not cast off, but put the sleeve stitches on holders and start knitting round and round and round for the body. So it's quite a simple knit. It's got a lace pattern that goes all the way down the sleeves, if you can just see that there, which is simple but effective. It just gives a little bit of detail to it, and then the rest is stocking stitch. So it's a simple knit. It's only because I'm getting to the point where there are the most stitches on the needles, and so a row is taking me a fair while. Plus, as I say, I really wanted to knit on my key shawlette, so it's too tempting. But I'll get back to that today. It's one of my resolutions for the day that I will get that further along. So that's the second one. My third work in progress is very nearly a finished item, but because it's not wound into a skein and soaked and thwacked and snapped and dried and whatever else, beautified, I'm counting it as a work in progress. So I just finished plying this last night, and this is my latest spinning. Oh, the camera's not, oh, there we go. And that is my own Owl About Yarn Blueface Leicester fibre, and it's a rainbow colourway, which some very nice person has sold me out of, because she's in Florida and she bought 6 braids of it all in one go. I'm not used to that, so it was a bit of a shock when I woke up to that order the other day. Usually people will buy 1 or 2, but 6 and all of the same, so I'd love to know what she's planning to do with it. 600 grams, I mean, I don't know, it's not enough for, it's not really enough for a jumper, is it, unless you spun it very, very thin and had a rainbow Hitafude or featherweight or something like that. But no, anyway, so I spun it, I think it's probably double knit weight, and oh sorry, that's not in focus, and I'm gonna wind that off today. I don't know if I'm going to soak it today, because Carol on BBC Breakfast this morning, the weather presenter, said it was going to be a lovely day. I don't see signs of that yet. So it might get wound onto my skein winder and just left for a little bit, and then I'll soak it and do all the business with it on the next nice day, which I'm hoping is tomorrow, because I'm hoping to have a bit of a dyeing day tomorrow. I've got a custom order to dye up, and a few ideas for colourways that have been flitting around my head, so I'm hoping to have, even if it's just a half day, yeah, so I want to do a bit of dyeing tomorrow, so everybody please keep your fingers crossed that it will be sunny, or at least dry, with a nice little breeze, because then I can put all of the yarn outside, and it makes it so much nicer when I can dry it outside rather than having to find room inside, you know, balancing the dripping skeins in the bath or something on an airer. It's it doesn't go down well with my husband, let's put it that way. Anyway, moving on. Finished objects. Well, I'm racing through this bit so far, aren't I? 2 finished objects. First off, the first Tallulah cardigan, which I was telling you about, the pattern by Sarah Ronchetti on Ravelry, which I have knit on 3.5mm needles. I'm trying to remember, I think didn't I have about half a sleeve left to go? The sleeves don't take very long at all, I mean they're teeny tiny, she's only 3, so the diameter's like that, and they knit up really fast. Plus the lace pattern, it's only a 4-row lace pattern, and every other row is knit anyway, so it's very easy to remember. So once you get into it, you just whiz through it. So I finished that up. I made it a teeny tiny bit too long, so it comes down over her hand slightly, because obviously she's going to grow. As I say, she's only 3.5, so she's going to grow a lot over this school year, and I'd like it to last her at least until the spring, because they do take time to knit, so I don't really want to have to knit a new one this side of Christmas at least. And I went with white buttons in the end. Now I'm going to put a picture up here, because I've discovered that I can put pictures over my video now, and this is a whole new thing, and it's going to be so exciting. So I have a nice blank piece of wall up here, so that's where my pictures are going to go. So right now, if my editing has worked, you should be seeing a lovely picture of my little girl on her first day of school in her school uniform, looking all happy, wearing her nice red cardigan, which the colour completely blew out the camera, so you'll just have to imagine it. But basically it's there, and I will get better pictures soon, hopefully. And then I'll have them up on Ravelry as well on my project page. It was a nice cardigan. I think I might knit some in different colours for my nieces, because they're just quite plain, but like I say, that little bit of lace detail down the arms just makes all the difference, and I get very bored knitting very plain things, so I need a little bit of detail somewhere. And you can't put too much detail on a school cardigan because they'll get a bit tetchy, won't they, if you've got embroidery all over it and things. But I think I just about got away with that one, and she's had a couple of compliments while she was wearing it as well, so yeah. And it is nice and cosy warm for her as well, because it wasn't very warm last week when she went in on Friday, so I was glad that she had something warm to wear. Now my second finished object is really a set of 3, because I finished some of my spinning. I was spinning John Arbon Merino in the grape colourway that I bought. If you remember, I bought a double quantity because I bought it at Wonderwall, and then I bought it again at his mill sale in May when I went down. So I was spinning it up to design and knit a jumper, not a cardigan, a jumper for Erin. And I have 3 braids, which, with it being so dark, I'm not sure. Hang on. Oh yeah, that's not bad. That's not too far off. Oh, that's even better. Yeah, that's about right with the colour. If I put them up, maybe it'll focus on that instead of me. How's that? So yeah, this is the Great Merino. I've spun these 3 bobbins full now, and I think I have about 350 yards so far, but I'm going to need a bit more than that. I don't really know how much I'm going to need exactly. I think it's approximately between sort of hour and a chunky weight. It's not really consistent all the way through because I didn't need it to be, so I didn't really worry too much about that. But I'm not quite sure how much I need, but because I've got so much fibre, I've probably spun about 1/3 of the bag, if that. I'm going to spin a couple more bobbins full, give myself an extra couple of 100 yards, and then I'll be good to get going on that jumper for her. And I'm aiming to have that done by the end of October, when it starts getting, sorry I just nudged the table and wobbled you, before the end of October, so that it's, before it gets properly really cold, she'll have a nice warm jumper, hand spun jumper to wear as well. And then maybe I'll work up to spinning enough to do jumpers for the boys and for me and for my husband, so never know. Oh, I did have another finished object. It's not a knitted or spun one, but a couple of years ago my friend Ellie gave me a needle felting kit, and I had a little go, but I never really seriously got into it. But then with dyeing fibre, sometimes you get little scrappy bits that fall off or just look a bit scraggly. So and with spinning as well, you get bits left over. And I thought it'd be nice to be able to use them to do something useful. So I had a little bit of an experiment. If I can, I've got a big plastic bag, take that out of the way. Let me see if I can find a nice looking one. I had a little bit of an experiment and decided to make lavender needle felted shapes. So there's a little heart I made, if you can see. Oh yeah, the colours are quite good there. They're mainly hearts I've done. I've got a little red and black one. And there's a little flower in this bag, but the flower shape didn't really come out very well. So, and what I did with that one is, if you can see, it's kind of a sandwich. I took some undyed fibre and put some lavender in the middle of it, and then sandwiched it in with scrappy bits of coloured fibre that I had left. Excuse me. And then I've done a couple that are just balls, where I've literally just rolled up some lavender in the middle of the ball of fibre. So they do smell nice. It's just a little bit of lavender in each one, and it's just an experiment at the moment, but I had a fun evening doing them. Maybe as I get better I'll progress on to doing little animals and all sorts of things. Who knows? So next up is acquisitions. I have, as I said, one acquisition, stash acquisition this week. I do have an acquisition, a very beautiful necklace, if you can see, that my mum and dad brought me back from their recent holiday to Norway. That's not really stash, but I love it anyway. I have treated myself, sorry about the crinkling if you're wearing headphones, I have treated myself to a mini skein set from Unwind Yarn Company, Halloween colours. Can you see that through the cellophane? For my sock yarn blanket. And this is 30 yards per mini skein, and there are 10 minis in the pack. And I just thought, oh yes, that looked lovely. So now I've got to decide. I think I'm going to do them in a block within the blanket so that all 10 are next to each other to keep the sort of the little Halloween themed bit all together. So I'm looking forward to that. I'm determined that this side of Christmas I'm going to increase the size of my sock yarn blankets substantially. I've got so many minis now because I've done a few little swaps and I've been keeping minis back. I dye up a mini skein every time I can. When I'm doing my own dyeing for the shop, I try and dye up a mini skein with every colourway. Oh, there's the postman, lovely. I try and dye up a mini skein in every colourway if I can, so that I've got one of each for the blanket that I'm making in just my yarn. And I really want to grow that one as well, so that if I manage to get a stall in a yarn festival next year, that could be a good display item and it'll have all of them on there. But I didn't manage this last couple of dyeing sessions because I'd run out of blank mini skeins, so I'm going to have to wind up some more this afternoon. And yeah, that's my only acquisition. I'm trying to be fairly restrained. I will have acquisitions to show you next time I talk to you, because going into plans, it's the Bristol Wool Fair this weekend, and I am going to be going, and I'm taking my husband and my children. I think they should experience a wool festival. Yes, it'll be good for them, it'll be good for their soul. So they're coming with me. I don't know which day we're going because it's on Friday to Sunday. Obviously it won't be Friday because the kids are all in school. But it depends really on the weather. If the weather's nice on the Saturday, I'd rather go on the Saturday. But if it's pelting down on the Saturday and then beautiful on the Sunday, I'll go then. For myself, I don't mind, because I'll just sit in the yarn stalls and chat with other yarny people and be perfectly happy. But for the kids and the husband who need to be entertained, it'll be nicer if it's a nice day, because they can run around. I'm assuming there's some sort of outside, because they said something about sheepdog displays and a Viking battle, so they can run around outside while I go and look at yarny things. But I do plan on buying one or two little things just to treat myself, but it is not going to be anywhere near the same scale as Wonderwool. I'm not taking my husband to carry my bags and follow me around like a pack horse behind me. I'm taking him because I kind of want him to know what I'm talking about when I talk about yarn festivals, and I think it's quite hard to imagine, if you've not been to one, just the scale. Now I don't know whether Bristol Wool Fair is going to be a similar scale to Wonderwool. I don't think it's going to be as big, but it's not going to be tiny, and I want him to see sort of like the stall layouts and the idea of just a festival for yarnies and spinners and weavers and all of us lovely people, just so he can get his head around it, because especially if I'm going to be going to festivals next year and the year after and thereafter, he probably won't be coming with me because he's going to have to stay home and look after the children, but I'd like him to have a point of reference so that he can understand what I'm talking about. And also, I do like to bounce ideas off him, and he has some pretty good ideas, so it would be nice if he knew enough to be able to have some pretty good ideas about how I might arrange my stall, or what I could decorate with, or just these sorts of things. So we're going, as I say, I've seen that they've got entertainment things like a falconry display and a Viking battle reenactment thing, and sheepdog displays. So that's how I managed to get him to agree to go, and we're going to take a picnic and make a bit of a family afternoon out of it. So it isn't going to be like Wonderwool where I'm just seriously shopping all day, but I would be very surprised if I had nothing to show you next week when I come back and talk to you. And I know that Sarah's going to be there from Sarah's Texture Crafts, who designed the key shawlette, and you might be watching now. If you are, hi. And if it's before Bristol, good luck for Bristol, and if it's after, I hope it went really well, and I hope I was able to come and say hello to you and show you my finished shawl, because it will be finished, it will be blocked, and I will be bringing it with me. So yeah, go me. Anyway, where did I get to? Bristol Wool Fair, going to go, going to be fab. Won't buy too much, but it's like having a souvenir when you go to some special place, isn't it? I'll find something small. It'll be fine, it'll be good, it'll be lovely. And it would be rude to go to a yarn festival and not buy anything at all. And I'm sticking with that. So, next plans. Oh yes, so I started mentioning my sock yarn blankets, because I did, oh sorry, I haven't got enough room on my table in front of me to lay everything out that I wanted to talk about. So I've got a little set of shelves in front of my knees under the table, and I've been storing things on there to pull out and show you as well. So this is my sock yarn blanket with any yarns, or any sock yarns, my own and ones that I've bought, and this one's bigger at the moment, if I can get it out of the bag. And this is in a bag that I got sent because I'm part of the Harry Potter knit and crochet house cup on Ravelry, and that was for participating in Quidditch. So I think that was is that the year before last now, or last year? It's a while ago. Anyway, I think these are 2.25 needles that I'm working on, just DPNs, and I've dedicated the set to just live with my sock yarn blanket all the time. And because I haven't shown it for a long time, I'll show you how it is. There we are. Can you see it all? I can't see through it. Oh yeah, I can just see through it. There you go, you can see it all. That's how far I've got on my own blanket, which is going to be for keeping me warm and for prettifying my sofa. And I want my one that's just going to be knitted in my wool to be that size as well by Christmas. So I do have some work to do. Let me put the needles back in the bag before I lose them. But I've got these lovely mini skeins from Dana at Unwind Yarn Company. I've got, if you remember, this little packet here of mini skeins that Knit Love Steph on Instagram sent me. I've got a lovely, I wound them up as well, look at that, how good am I? That's from 5 Moons, I think I got that at Wonderwool. But yeah, they used to be mini skeins, but I've wound them all up so that they're ready to knit with. And I've actually been through and wound up all of the mini skeins that I had so that they're ready just to pick out and knit straight away, and I don't have to sit and wind them up and procrastinate because they're not wound up and think, oh, I'll just knit on something else. So, and then the one that's knitted out of my yarn is still ditty because I've not worked on it for months and months and months, probably not since before Easter, and I want to substantially increase this. And I do have, so this is my Doctor Who bag with rose fabric inside. Can you see inside there? Just about. And Belly Monster on Ravelry sent me that as part of a swap a while ago. I have, so this bag is full to the brim with mini skeins that I've dyed. Well, there's a nice pink one, look. Nice bright pink and sparkly. So I have plenty of minis to be getting on with. And hopefully I'll be able to meet my target and have this. It's not going to be fully blanket size because that would be silly. Where am I going to display that at a yarn festival? It would take up an entire wall, wouldn't it? But what I'm thinking, and in order to keep it tidy and portable and half decent looking and not dusty, I'm thinking of getting one of those massive clip frames that's kind of that wide and, well, you can't see, but you know, big, and making it that size so that it can pretty much be, it'll be blocked by being held out in the frame, and it'll just stay in there then in the clip frame, and I can hang it up then at festivals, and it'll just be a display item. So hopefully that will work. So that's crafting plans. I also want to do another key shawlette in handspun next, I think. I was umming and ahhing because I have some really nice Lal Bear yarn and some, I can't remember what it's called, I'm going to put it across the bottom here. But it's another sock yarn that I got in Loop when I went on the first Great London Yarn Crawl 2 years ago. And I've been looking for something to knit them up with for a while, but I think I want to knit a handspun shawl. I've got a few days to think about it because I need to do other things first. I need to finish Erin's school cardigan, poor girl, otherwise she's going to shiver. So I'll think about it. But yeah, it's going to be either one of my special yarns from Loop or a Lal Bear, or it's going to be the handspun fondant fibre poonies that I spun up. And I showed you that earlier in the summer, so I'm kind of umming and ahhing because the poonies, because the way that they were spun up, it's going to kind of stripe, and I thought that could be really, really effective. Hang on a minute, I'm going to pause it and I'm going to go and get the yarn and show it to you again so that I can remind you. I'm back. Not that you know, I was gone a little bit longer because I found the handspun, and then I thought, well, while I've paused it, I might as well go and find all those other yarns I was talking about. So, here's the handspun yarn. This is sparkly, and that's spun from fondant fibre poonies. It's called Jazzy or something. It'll be in the show notes. And as you can see, there are bands of colour, so that's where the different poonies start and stop. So I think that'll be a really nice effect. I will be knitting 2 more of these shawlettes. It's just deciding now. It'll be this one, and then I have 3 skeins of yarn from Lal Bear, who she's retired now, so I sort of bought a few just before she did. I have these 3 to choose from. And 2 of them are Blueface Leicester, these 2 are Blueface Leicester, and this one is Merino, but they're all 4-ply. And they've all, I think, got enough yardage. I'm sure they've got enough yardage because the one that I'm doing, as I say, I'm nearly finished and I have that much left, so that'll be another colour to put in my sock yarn blanket. Yay! That'll be cool. But the other one I was telling you about was Misty Alpaca. I went and found it. It is 50% alpaca, 30% merino wool, 10% silk and 10% nylon. So in theory, I suppose, you could use it for socks because it's got the 10% nylon. But look, they're so pretty, especially that one. I really, really like that one, and I don't know why, because I don't usually go for that olivey green that's in there. But I really like it, and then that with the petrol blue. You see? So look, I've got all these 5 to choose from. Which one shall I knit? You tell me. Maybe I'll put a picture up on the group and on Ravelry and say, help, which one? Now you see I'm drawn to that colour because purple is always my favourite colour, but maybe I should be knitting in one of the other colours just to ring the changes and to have something a bit different, so that everything in my life isn't just purple and turquoise. Although that's not a bad thing, but you know, I do like a multicoloured life, so anyway, I'm talking nonsense now, so I'll stop. What other plans have I got? Well, so I have to spin up a little bit more yarn for Erin's jumper, and I'm sort of, so I did the first 3 bobbins and plied them, and that's when I did the rainbow because I needed a break from just the purple. As beautiful as it is, and it's lovely to spin, I just wanted to have another colour going through my fingers, so I did. But once I've spun up the next 2 bobbins, because I think that'll be enough then, and if not I'll just have to spin up some more later on, but I really do think that'll be enough when I've got about 600 yards or so. When I've spun up the next 2 bobbins, I'm going to be spinning this, which is something that I dyed, and it's Blueface Leicester, and it is that shocking a pink and black. And I'm going to split that in half, spin it up, 2-ply it, and it'll probably end up in the shop. I'm not entirely certain yet, but we'll see how it goes. Or it might be a Christmas present for somebody. I'm not sure. I'll think about it. It depends really on who my Secret Santa ends up being. If we do that, we're talking in our knitting group at the moment about doing designated Secret Santas, or having a short list of things that we want, so that people can just buy something off the list. But the thing is that I don't have a long running list of things that I want, so if anybody wanted to do that, I've got an Etsy wish list, I've got an Amazon wish list. It's probably easy enough to find something off there. I wouldn't be able to write down a list and hand it over and say, oh yeah, well I need 2mm fixed circular knitting needle for magic looping socks, because I'd probably go out and buy myself one, so I wouldn't be able to specify exact things. I mean, buy me nice fibre or nice yarn and I'm happy, but I wouldn't be able to go and say I want that one, probably. Do you know what I mean? It's a bit of a tricky one. So yeah, we're trying to find a way around it, because we've done a random Secret Santa for a couple of years, where you just buy a present that will suit anybody, and more or less chuck them all in the middle and they get distributed randomly. We're thinking about doing something that's a little bit more specific this year, so yeah, we'll have to arrange that soon, won't we, because it's, what is it now? What did I say it was? The 8th of September, yeah, 8th of September. Well, 3 months, that's not long. How many of you are throwing things at the TV right now because I'm talking about Christmas? I did see on Instagram somebody put a so many sleeps until Christmas thing up, so I'll have to, oh, hang on, I can find it out. Hang on, bear with. How long? Got my phone. Google, I love Google. How long until Christmas? Look, there are 108 more sleeps to the big day, but I'm not counting, I'm just a grumpy elf. Are there still a lot of days until Christmas 2015? It always seems like there are a lot of days to Christmas. Well, there are 108 days to be exact, or 9,308,671 seconds. See? Google has told me this. I love that Google will tell me everything. It's just my answer to everything. If one of the kids says, oh, Mum, what's this or what's that? I'll Google it. It's great. Yes, so 108 sleeps until Christmas. That is not a lot of time when you're a knitter and you've got presents to knit. Just think about that. Yeah, I need to get on with it as well. Maybe I'll start something like that in this next week or so. When I've got the Tallulah finished, the cardigan, and I've got the Quiche Chaulette finished, maybe I'll start thinking about a Christmas present, because I know exactly which one I'm going to cast on first, and it's going to be knitted in John Arbon's Knit by Numbers, which I got at the mill sale, and it's going to be a colourwork project, but only a little one, so hopefully that'll go quite fast, and I'm going to be giving it early, so I'll be able to show it to you before Christmas as well. Exciting. So that's all my plans. And moving on to the last section, which is loose ends. So the first thing I wanted to talk to you about was our knit along that I'm running in my Ravelry group for the Key Shawlette, as I've mentioned a few times. We've got quite a few people joining in. I was really surprised. I think I said last week that Sarah offered to donate a prize and I was given a prize. And I was thinking, well, maybe there'll be 2 people who take part and they can have a prize each. But so far, I think we've probably got about a dozen people who are doing it. I've got to make a list later, because I'm going to ask everybody how it's going and check in on them and stuff. But yeah, there's quite a few people actively knitting. There's 3 in my knitting group, I think. That I go to, the knit night that I go to, and then there's quite a few from the Harry Potter Knit and Crochet House Cup that I take part in on Ravelry as well, who've come over and joined in. So that's lovely to see, and there are actually quite a few using my yarn, which entitles you to be put into a prize draw for extra prizes as well. So that's really thrilling, and I'm really looking forward to seeing them knitted up. And it'll be great for Sarah as well to have all those extra shawls on the pattern page so that people can see that it'll look lovely in a whole host of different yarns and colours, and yeah, so that's really, really good, and I'm really looking forward to getting mine blocked. Although most shawls that I knit have an eyelet edge along the top, and this one doesn't, because it's knit from the side, and you do knit front and back instead of a yarn over. I think I can say that, because yeah, I'm not giving anything away too much with that. But, you know, when you do the yarn overs, that's a really easy place to thread the blocking wires to block the pattern. And because it hasn't got that, I'm sitting thinking, oh, how am I going to block it now? I might have to go in between the rows, just really, really carefully, thread it in between all the stitches. But I'll work it out, because I really want it to look really crisp along the edges and really good. So, yeah, hopefully I'll be blocking it on Thursday, I think. If I'm going to be doing some dyeing tomorrow, I'll either block it tomorrow night or on Thursday, and then there'll be pictures everywhere, because I'm going to be so thrilled that it's done and that I can show it to everybody. So yeah, that'll be really good. While I'm talking about my Ravelry group, I have started a new thread yesterday, and it's called What Makes You Smile. And I'd really, really like people to come in and tell us what makes you smile. It's more of a, have you seen the 100 Happy Days project floating around on Instagram? It's been going for a couple of years. I think you can do it on Facebook as well and various other places, but I've only seen it on Instagram. And the premise is that you post a picture every day for 100 days of something that makes you happy, or has made you happy during that day, and it's designed to make you more conscious of what makes you happy. And I did it last year, and you do sort of think more about what makes you happy, because you've got to find something. So rather than sort of drifting through the days, you think, oh, actually, yeah, that particular bit of knitting made me happy, or the fact that my strawberries are blossoming in the garden made me happy. You know, it's that sort of a thing. So I thought, well, I'll start a thread along similar sort of lines. I have battled with depression and anxiety for a few years, and it's not something that I really want to talk about on the podcast, because I like this to be quite a positive place, and most of the time I go along the fake it until you make it school of whatever, and I just think, well, if I can act bright and happy, then I'm more likely to feel bright and happy. So I really do try to do that, and it works quite a lot of the time. I think if you can just fool yourself into thinking that you're all fine, then you know it works. And mine is a very mild depression, so most of the time I'm okay, but I do have down days and that. And it does help me to very consciously think about what's making me happy and where my blessings are when I'm feeling a bit low. So I put a picture up the other day, for example, of the beginning of my rainbow yarn on the bobbin, where there was just a little rainbow of colours along the spindle, and it made me smile. And I'd love it, like I say, if you'd all come and join in and either post a little picture or just a description. It doesn't even have to be a picture, because sometimes the things that make you smile are things that you just pass in the street. Like you might see a kid passing your front door wearing a really cute costume, or you might overhear somebody saying something funny on a bus, or I don't know, it might be something funny that you see on the TV, something like that. But anything that makes you smile, just come along and share it, and let the rest of us have a little smile as well. And I'm hoping that it's going to make it a really nice positive place to be. So, and a couple of people have come in and posted already and have said, well, yeah, actually I battle with this as well, so this is a great idea. So as many of you as would like to, I'd love to see what you smile at. Keep it clean though, okay? I did say that in the thread. Just, yeah. I mean, things make us smile. No, I'm not even going to go there. Keep it clean, okay? So, next on my... Oh, yeah, so all my kids went back to school. They staggered it. So, my two boys are 14 and 11, and they went back to school on Wednesday and Thursday last week. The 11-year-old just had his first day at high school on Wednesday, and they made it so that it was only the very new people and the ones starting their A-levels who were going in on Wednesday. So the year 7 children, which is the first year of high school in Britain, the year 7 children were able to find their way around without being overwhelmed by huge crowds of people thronging the halls. And then my 14-year-old, who's going into year 10 and starting his GCSEs, he went back on Thursday. And then Erin started nursery on Friday. And I kid you not, she's been looking forward to this for at least a year and a half. I know she's only 3.5, but she has been looking forward to it. We live very close to the school, so she sees all the children going. Obviously, she's seen her brothers going to school since she was born, and she's just been desperate to go. And she was so thrilled and excited to put her uniform on Friday. She actually asked if she could wear the cardigan I made to go to school in, which was very sweet, seeing as we do have an official school one. But it was a very big tick for that cardigan and a mark of approval that I found that she'd been keeping it under her pillow since I finished it. Because she said she was keeping it safe, ready for school. So yeah, very, very sweet. And she raced into school. She did look back. She clung onto my hand and raced into school, so I raced in with her, and they stagger the entry for the nursery kids so that they go in about every quarter of an hour, the new pupils, so that the teachers get to spend a few minutes with them and get to make them feel comfortable and make sure that they're happy to be there and everything like this. So she hung on to me like a limpet, dragged me into the sand table and started digging through the sand for the treasure that they'd buried. And after about 2 minutes, she let go of me and didn't even notice I was there. So I said, right, I've got to go now. And she's like, what? Oh, yeah, okay. Yeah. And she was fine. And went and picked her up, and she was absolutely full of stories of all the things that she'd done, and she'd been so solidly busy, I think, the whole time she was there. She was quite disappointed then that it was the weekend and she didn't get to go back until Monday morning, but so she very anxiously yesterday, which was Monday, very anxiously said to me, Mummy, can I go back to school after my sleep? I said, yeah, we're going back after this sleep. Yeah, you've got 5 days at school this week. She's like, oh, yay! Oh, yay! I'm going to do painting, and I'm going to play in the sand, and I'm going to go outside and play on the bikes, and I'm going to play with Emily and Amy and Ellie and Toby, and she's just going through all of this. So I'm so pleased that she's loving it, because it would have been a huge letdown if she hadn't, as I say, because she's been looking forward to it for so long. So, oh, bless her, Do you know when you see little kids and they're in uniform for the first time and you're like, oh, they're so sweet. It's almost like putting little people in grown-up clothes because they're so small. But yeah, so she's wearing these little grey pinafore dresses and a little red jumper that I made her. Very, very cute. And then knee-high socks as well. Oh, so cute! But yeah, so she's really, really enjoying that, and long may that last. And Ben's really enjoying high school. That's my 11-year-old. He's enjoying all the different subjects, and I think he's enjoying moving around the classrooms, which obviously they don't do in primary school. They stay in the same classroom a lot of the time. Jack's happy with his GCSE courses so far. He's got his first drama lesson today. He's chosen to do drama as one of his GCSE subjects. So he's got double drama today. And he's got art as well, which is another one of his choices. So he's happy to be back and seeing his friends, as far as I can tell. He doesn't say a lot. I've learnt more about that school in the... How many days has Ben been there now? 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 days Ben's been at that school, and I've learnt more about the school in 4 days than I learnt in the whole of Jack's first year, I think. Because you ask Jack a question and he's very much the stereotypical teenager and going, yeah, yeah, no. Well, actually, he's on his tablet or his phone, so yeah, 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 yeah. Whereas Ben will come in and he's more like me, so he'll just sit and talk at you for an hour and tell you everything about everything. So that's great and it's really good. But he's going to try and be more involved in school, I think, than his older brother as well. He's asking if he can go for football team trials, and I'd be very surprised if he didn't do some sort of dramatic thing at some point. And if they have any tennis, he'll be going to that, I'd imagine, because he loves his tennis. So yeah, it's really cool. But obviously with Erin starting nursery, I've got 2.5 hours of free time every morning. So, well, not exactly free time, but I have child free time every morning. So I've decided that I need to plan my time a little bit more and be a bit careful with how I spend my time, because I want to grow my business over this next couple of years, and I need to use my time wisely. So I'm thinking of having a loose sort of timetable so that I do the same sort of things on the same days each week. So almost like my very own school timetable. So say on a Thursday I'll do my paperwork and get it up to date, and dyeing days will be Tuesday and Wednesday, or something like that. I need to work it out, and obviously that'll be an evolving thing as well as the needs of the business grow. But so today, Tuesday, it's Tuesday today. Maybe Tuesday will be my podcasting day. Who knows? We'll have to see how this all comes out in the wash. And then this afternoon, because I don't need to have time alone to do it, I'll be winding mini skeins. I can do that while Erin's here. I can set it up in the lounge and be keeping an eye on what she's doing. So I've got a big pile of skeins of yarn that want to become mini skeins and put into little packets and put in the shop. So yeah, that's my job for this afternoon. And I think that is about everything that I wanted to talk to you about. I seem to have been talking quite fast today. I'm really sorry about that. I'm sorry about the poor lighting, and I'm sure I'm sorry about something else as well. I feel as if I'm saying sorry a lot today. But thank you very much for joining me. If you are knitting on the Quiche Shawlette, come and tell me how you're getting on. Progress pictures are always welcome. If you use the hashtag Quiche Shawlette Cal, K-A-L, I'll put it down here, on Instagram, or I should be able to find it on Twitter as well. I've started using, at least I've started looking at Twitter a bit more. I'm not using it much more at the moment, but I'll get there eventually. I'll be able to find you if you've put update pictures places. And come and post them in the Ravelry thread as well. I know that Sarah's checking in there every couple of days to see how everybody's getting on as well. So she'll like to see the pictures of how your projects are coming along and see how they're growing and how they're looking in all the different colours. So yeah, and that's about it. So until the next time I talk to you, happy knitting, happy crocheting, happy spinning, happy whatever else you're doing with wool and with your life. And I shall speak to you soon. Bye bye.